In my day, I tried keeping up with the game. Now with the power of Xfinity 10G network, my little bro is the game. With the Xfinity 10G network, he sees the game from every angle with barely any lag. Set, hike! My little brother, more like my big MVP. Xfinity is a game changer.
Introducing the next generation 10G network, only from Xfinity. The future starts now.
Okay, I've been fresh like Will Smith since 94, man, I built this,
Welcome back to the Sneaker Lounge, PJ Tucker. I got my boy here, Nick DePaula. What's going on, dog? Appreciate you coming through.
Thanks for having me. It's fun being on the other side. Usually I'm asking a million questions of you, so it's a little different.
We flopped today, we flip-flopped today. So you've been talking shoes a long time, dog. How did it all start? Like, where did it all come from the beginning?
So I was 10 years old the first time I saw the Zoom Flight 95 at the mall, and that just changed my whole world. Like, they look so futuristic. It's crazy. 25 years later, they still do.
Still do.
And I needed to know, like, who designed them. My favorite player at the time, J. Kidd, was wearing them. And ever since then, I've just been into it. And I tried to just figure out, like, the building blocks and the steps to do what I do. So when I was in middle school, Slam dropped the first issue of Kicks magazine, and I was reading it, and I'm like, maybe I could write about shoes. You know, it was like this light bulb moment, and I kind of just built out the steps from there. I went to University of Oregon, which is, of course, tied in with Nike. In that magazine, they had Aaron Cooper and Tinker Hatfield and Eric Avar all featured, and they were saying how they were in Beaverton, and I just figured out a path step by step to get to that point, and ran Soul Collector magazine for like 8 years. Was at ESPN for the last 6, and now having some fun with Boardroom and Slam as like a whole full circle moment. So it's been pretty sick.
Yeah, that's dope, man. You know, we've been down for a minute now, but to really see the evolution even of yourself, like even going through like my career and doing this stuff, to see you growing it and keep, you know, getting bigger and better at it, man, it's dope. Bro.
And I always joke, there's a lot of stories I've spent months on. There's one story I wrote in 20 minutes. And it was when the league changed the color rules in 2018. And that's one of the biggest stories I ever wrote. And it was crazy because to me, like, you were a big part of me blowing up in a sense too, because like now people are caring what people are wearing on Tuesday night in Minnesota or what you're wearing on a Wednesday somewhere too. And it just became every night online, you know, people were having fun with it, wearing stuff from all different colors, all different brands. And the whole world of sneakers to me exploded after that moment.
For real, that moment, that's such an underrated moment, and people don't realize how much changed in that moment. Like, it really just flopped everything. And being a part of it is even crazier because remembering the days of getting fined for wearing different colors and having different schemes on shoes to now where it's just, you can pretty much do anything.
And I remember when you were at Phoenix, like matching was a thing you were into.
Yep.
Because you were trying to find the rarest thing that matched. But then once it was open, you could wear South Beach 8s in Minnesota. You could wear whatever, you know, and it just made it that much more fun. And I think with all the Instagram accounts now that are out there and how much stuff is around, it just, the excitement level to follow it night to night just took things to a whole different level.
For sure. So you know we gotta do it, man. What we got on our feet today, dog? What we come through with?
So All-Star Weekend, I probably packed like 8 pairs of shoes for 3 days. It's a whole process. Right now I got on the Tough Crowd times Curry brand Cozies. This was a shoe that I actually helped design with Brandon Jennings for Curry brand. They dropped these on 11/11 in November. As part of the launch, Curry brand donated and renovated his childhood court in Raleigh Park, like the rec center that he grew up playing at.
Oh, dope.
So it was fresh. There's like a dog at center court.
Yeah.
And 11/11 is kind of the theme of the shoe, and it comes from Brandon's tattoo on his neck and just talks to about, you know, being in alignment and following the path that that hopefully your life is leading. So this was a fresh one. There's the dog on the detail with the tab here, and then the shoes I was wearing yesterday, nobody really caught this, but it was original, and I know we have this connection, it was original 85 ones. I didn't realize until like a couple weeks ago, but that's the last time Indiana hosted the All-Star game.
Wow.
It was the 85 All-Star game, and that was the Mike Freeze out.
Yo, that's crazy.
And he was in Chicago, so I was like, all right, I try to break those out every so often. I was like, let me break those out. Because that's the thing with shoes, it's a conversation starter for everybody. You know, it's like, what do you got on and what's the backstory, and then you go from there.
Yep, no, 100%. That's dope, man. I did not know that. That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I don't know if it might be another 40, but based on, you know, it's a little cold out here, but.
I actually brought 85 ones too, dog. I really did.
There you go,
85 ones too. That's crazy. All right, so the question that we probably both get asked the most, what is your top 3 all-time, all around too? Not just hooping, not just off court, like all around.
It's tough. I'm gonna give you 2 answers. So I'm gonna go top 3 Nikes.
Okay.
Because it could just be those, but I don't want to just have Nikes.
Yeah, no, it's boring.
Yeah,
I get
but
it.
I think the Zoom Flight 95 to this day is still the best shoe of all time. The black and carbon fiber colorway, it's like a perfect shoe. Just the way it's designed. It's funny because it ain't even that comfortable, but visually.
They are not comfortable
Visually.
at all.
I was actually sad because I talked to J Kidd one time and he was like, I hated playing in those, my feet were on fire. I was like that kind of ruins it, but.
Everybody hated those though. Nobody liked those, bro.
But visually, I love that shoe. To me, the Hyperflight was a crazy shoe. I grew up in Sacramento. Jason Williams, you know, we didn't have a lot of signature shoes players. But to me, I consider that, you know, his shoe.
For sure.
The purple pair I love. And I had the red one in high school. That was like the first shoe I got with my own money as a summer job. And all my teammates called me Dorothy, which was funny. But, I love that shoe. And then the one I loved to play in was the Garnett 3. Yeah. Like the black and blue. KG is one of my favorite players. That design was amazing. Fire. And I always thought that was one of the best too. And then if I had to flip it, I would say the KB8s. You know, everybody knows them as the Crazy 8s. Like to me, that was one of the first shoes that I was just like super going crazy about. Kobe and Adidas, people, it's crazy now, kids didn't even know he was with Adidas, but a lot of that stuff he had was really amazing.
It was different.
Yeah, like the top 10 2010, they had some real heat. And then I love just the Reebok Kamikaze 2 and the Answer 1. Like I think the Reebok 90s era, which is gonna start to come back again as Reebok revamps. Like I'm excited to see what they do. I think they got a real shot, and in a lot of ways, Reebok to me might have the second best archive of the 90s.
I think so.
You know, obviously Nike might be a little ahead, but but they had some great stuff
They're
too.
number 2 for sure.
Yeah, so I think, you know, it's easy to think of like the shoes you love kicking around like a Ultra Boost or certain other things, but I always go back to like the starting point for me with all those brands, and those are kind of the models that for sure come to mind.
Yeah, no, for sure. I like to do it in eras too, like the stages of my evolution of shoes, like my top of each one, like because it's so, man, over the years we've been doing it so long. I kind of changed, and my thoughts about stuff kind of changed, and it's like the stuff that was designed and that looked good aesthetically, and then the stuff that actually felt good and I like to play it and I like to wear like every day. I think it like kind of gives a different twist to like the top, you know, the top conversations.
Yeah, I mean, if you start to look ahead, then it's like, all right, Kobe 4 for sure.
Right.
You know, LeBron 2 for me, one of my all-time favorites to play in, and I just love the look of it. And then the Hyper Dunk has to be in that mix.
Hyper Dunk, you gotta throw the Hyper Dunk.
You know, so I think those 3, that kind of represents, you know, the 2000s and on.
Like I was a BB4 guy. Like
I hate that shoe.
See, and that's what I'm saying.
I tore my ACL 2 weeks before my senior season. Yeah, so every time I think of the shocks, I'm like, man, come on.
But when you see that one, like always put it in there because the rollout.
Oh yeah.
Like how Vince was on fire during that time. It was like the USA game when he done, like it was like, yo, you wear these like the Boeing, like you go.
I mean,
that
shoe and the Flight Posit, I would say, like that made you wonder like where the future of shoes is headed.
For sure.
And you was like, you went from the 90s to now 2000, and you're just like, all right, now we're in a new time, you know.
For sure.
And then I tore my ACL, so I was like,
that's
shoe,
crazy. That's crazy. That shoe turned me out though. Like that was like the time of like leveling up, like really getting into like the design of shoe and like how they make shoes, and like that's when I really got locked into.
I think we were the same high school year, so we were probably a freshman when those came out, or a sophomore.
You 03?
Yeah.
So we were sophomores when they came out.
Yep.
I'll never forget it. I swear. I hooped in them they came out 2 days before the game. I got them and hooped in them fresh. No practice, no nothing. Straight to the game. I love that shoe, dog. I can't believe it.
I'm gonna let you have that one.
see you got the King Card tee on. Big ups to her. What do you think about the women's shoe game and where it's going and the evolution of it?
Man, I mean, right now is probably the most exciting time for women's basketball, probably in 25 years since the W launched.
Easy.
I mean, we got, right now, Stewie and Sabrina, the only 2 athletes in the W with the signature shoe. There's been 12 in 28 years. You know, Cheryl Swoops was in here earlier, and she's, of course, the pioneer of all that. I think she had 7 shoes total.
Yep.
But I think for Caitlin Clark, you know, Asia Wilson, Juju at USC, like these are players that can have their own shoes going forward and kind of build a whole new renaissance of it. So the game has been super exciting with the last couple of March Madnesses. There's going to be expansion in the W in the next couple of years. And obviously Caitlin's going to be part of that start. So it's exciting to me. I mean, she just set the record for the all-time scoring record in 4 years, just like Kelsey played. So
crazy.
That part of it was nuts. But I think shoe-wise, it's fun too, because now, you know, like I was interviewing Sabrina and she had never worn a women's signature shoe.
Ever?
Like she only grew up with like KDs and Kobe's and LeBrons.
That's crazy.
And I didn't even think about it in those terms, but like, you know, because the last one before her and Stewie was Candace Parker in 2011 was her last shoe. So now you got players that are wearing Sabrina's, they know it's possible. And I think the flip we're seeing that's cool is like, you got like 40 guys in the NBA wearing Sabrina's.
Guys wearing it. Yo, we were just talking about that.
Yeah, like guys are going on Nike ID and doing colors. You know, Drew Holiday got fresh P's. So I think you're seeing it go back and forth for the first time ever, you know, which is new and different too. So it's a great time to be a part of following it, because I think all the brands are finally like putting that support behind it too. You know, there was a rush of like 6 or 7 players that had a signature shoe early when the W started, but then it's been about 15 years of a gap.
Right.
So it's finally coming back around, and to me, I would give Juju a shoe as an NIL player.
Really?
Yeah, like she's amazing to watch. She had, I think, 51 a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, I seen that.
You know, because they do got to stay 3 years before being draft eligible. So
why not?
I say why not press go now and see what you could do.
Why not? I've seen a bunch of the PEs they're doing for girls too. So I mean, why not give her a signature shoe?
Yeah.
NIL? That'd be dope, actually.
Yeah. Have you played in Sabrina's?
I have. I actually got PEs coming in Sabrina's.
Okay. See.
Yeah. See, that's what I'm saying. Like I love the evolution of how it's changing, and it's crazy because I like how it is now. I want to bring back. Let's bring back the swoop one. Like let's bring back like now we can get them in sizes and do full runs and have fun with them. New colorways. Like I think it'll be dope.
One of the things we always talk about is like, what's the shoe you're still hunting for? Mm-hmm. And Dawn Staley, the Zoom S5.
Oh my God, we were talking about
I've been
that
on the
already.
hunt for like, 20 years on eBay, so I don't like my chances, but I think they could retro them now because of who Dawn is as a coach. You know, obviously the Hall of Fame player, but now she's at that level as a coach, as a champion too. So it'd be fun to bring that back, tell her story, and that shoe would be a great retro. They've retroed the Swoops too and a couple others, but I think Nike has a whole lane, like even with Lisa Leslie's shoe, which was fresh. You know, it's designed after a Chanel bag, which was cool. So there's like some cool stories that they could bring back even as retros too. So right now it's one of the most exciting times around women's basketball in general, and then the shoe part of it's been great to see.
What's your most memorable shoe that you could think of? It's something that just meant a lot or whatever.
So when I first got a pair of Zoom Flight 95s, because I didn't have them as a kid, I think that's such a big part of having an affinity for shoes growing up, is like it's almost the ones you couldn't get that build up over time.
Right.
So I had the Thrill Flight, which was like the takedown, because I had a $50 budget or $40 budget at that time. But I got the Thrill Flights at JCPenney, and then when I was in college, we actually joked about this. I got my first debit card because you needed one to have an eBay account. So then I started going crazy on eBay buying Zoom Flight 95s, any pair that popped up. But then the shoe that I got that like, I probably ate Reese's Puffs for like a month and saved everything I had in college. But at Oregon when I was there, we got LeBron 2 PEs. There was the green pair and the white and green pair. I think it was like $3,500 I spent for both pairs. And I'm like 21 at the time, you know, so that was, to say it was a lot of money, that was like all my money
like
times, whatever. And so that shoe in particular, it was fresh because I was at the school at the time.
Yeah.
I loved LeBron 2. And it was one of the first, like now every college has PEs every season, but back then it was like unheard of.
Else was hitting them.
I mean, the players had to basically like check them in at certain times to make sure they hadn't sold them. It was a crazy process.
That's wild.
And then of course, fast forward, you know, all the years later up in Portland, You know, I lent you a pair to wear at the game.
Yeah.
I still got to get them back. It's another conversation. I think they're at the sneaker loft in Houston, which obviously is a safe place.
Yeah,
so I'm not worried. But one day I'll get those back.
PJ actually borrowed my other green pair, so PJ, I need those back.
If I had to think, you've probably played in at least 1,000 different shoes over the course of your career, right? But when you think about like the best ones to play in, like how do you value what you want in a performance shoe, and what's the models that really stick out?
For me, it's always been about the fashion of the shoe. Like, especially early on as a kid, it really didn't matter how comfortable they were.
Really?
I didn't care. Like, and that's like how I kind of evolved into playing and everything, because I never cared.
So it was like 90% style, 10%?
For sure.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
For sure.
And you got your orthotics, which obviously helps.
Right, like now, but like back then, it was just like open the box, throw them on. It wasn't no orthotics for years, until probably 8, 9 years in the league until I started doing that. So
you were playing in, I think, 1s and 3s, and a lot of people were like, I don't know how he does it.
But the orthotics make it all right. So, and then you just like make special ones for special shoes. Like 1s, you got to be a little thicker, a little more cushion to make it easy. But the older I got, the more you can't do that, right? So it's like, what are my go-tos? And it's always the same for me. You already know the Kobe 4, Kobe 6, Kobe 1. Because I just think Kobe had the best line all time.
So it's like the fit and the grip at that point.
Fit, grip, lightweight.
Yep.
How they restrict your foot. I love how tight you can make the shoe. It's like the general overall, the balance, but still even being able to just throw a pair of 3s on and hoop in them, like for the nostalgia of it. I think that's what, throws a little variant in there that most people can't do. I love that.
Do you already talk about what you're wearing?
Huh? No, I haven't said a word about it. You're the only person that would.
Really?
You're the only person that would be.
All right, I'll flip that on you real quick. So I was talking about what I was wearing, but what are you wearing?
These are Travis Scott, the new Travis Scotts, the Jumpman Jack, which they're interesting because they're really a cross trainer. Like
you got like the Trainer 1 strap. Yeah.
Trainer 1 strap, and they got like the sole is like but it's like a mix of like a bunch of different trainers.
Okay.
Like he did. But I love them though, a bunch of colorways. I actually went, when I went to the show, I go in the back, he always liked to stun on me, you already know, Travis like. So we go in the dressing room, and as soon as I walk in, it's like a room like this, and it's all the way around is the Jumpman Jacks. And I mean, literally every single colorway you could ever think of in your life. It had to be 80 pair of Jumpman Jacks in every colorway. I walked in, I turned around and walked right back. It was like, yo, I can't deal with you right now, bro. Insane. It was crazy. Crazy.
I always thought it was interesting how you never wanted a signature shoe because you just loved to wear variety. But what do you think about him getting actually a signature shoe after all the ones he had?
I know, it's kind of crazy just because he started to have like ideas and feelings about what he was wearing, but I still could never do that. Like I just cannot, because you have to wear your shoe. Like you got a signature shoe, you gotta wear it.
Yeah.
Like you can't like be somewhere and be like, have somebody else's shoes on. Like you gotta wear your stuff, and I'm not wearing the same shoe like
every game.
That's like prison for me, dog. Like there's no way I can wear the same shoe every day. Even if all the colorways, I don't care. I can't do it. Can't do it. My guy, I appreciate you coming through, man. Long time friend. We've been doing this a long time, man. I appreciate you coming through, show some love.
Of course, it was fun to switch it up for once and be on your show, which was cool.
That's dope, man. Appreciate it.
Okay, I've been fresh like Will Smith since 94, man, I built this.